Happy Friday, everyone. We have our week 6 review here. At the end of this week, we'll be posting grades for report cards. And so make sure that we're looking over this together as a family at some point during the week. You can do it over the weekend and just get it done. That's perfectly fine, but it will need to be brought back to me on Friday so I can check that we're understanding it. And so I'm just going to go back over with you some real quick things about most of this. As you'll notice, we've done these. If you can notice the pattern of what's happened is these missing add-ins were here last week. Now they've moved over one spot. And so each week we add a new skill that we've already been taught, that we're practicing. And so as I'm looking at 9 plus something equals 17, I can think about my fact families. And so I can look at it this way. We did the little house with the roof. The arrow went the opposite direction. I can think of a part, whole. I know part of my part, and my whole is 17. But to find that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 17 minus 9. Now, some of your kids will be able to just figure this out. Like they'll see it and go, oh, 9 plus 8 equals 17. Really, this is really good practice for addition facts because as we learn our doubles and our doubles plus ones facts, this one is actually a doubles plus one fact because 8 plus 8 equals 16. So 9 plus 8 would equal 17. And so your kids might actually recognize it. And if they do, that's great. That's kind of the point of it eventually. But if they're needing to still do like 15 minus 8 equals 7, perfectly fine, not a problem. When we get down here to these last three, you'll notice that they're doubles facts, so they really might catch on pretty quickly to these. The only thing I'm going to remind you about these, we've seen the last few weeks, make sure that you see the ones first here and on this one as well, so making sure you're putting them in the correct place value. They don't put the hundreds first. And also to give you a visual of what our ones need to look like, on 309, we don't have any 10s, so we're not going to draw any 10s. But when we have 9 ones, you can see there's your column of 5 and stacking up 6, 7, 8, 9 in the second column. And again, I didn't circle them this time. Your kids might need to circle 10 10s to make 100. That's perfectly fine. I'm just showing that most of our kids are probably moving towards like, oh yeah, we just add the 0 now to make that, to count that number. And so 15 10s, we're adding a 0, moving our place values over, so we have 150. Now make sure on the bottom one, it doesn't say how many 10s, it says how many hundreds. So really making sure if they need to draw a picture of hundreds, that's perfectly fine as well. So look, just making sure that we see that. Most of these are pretty the same as much as we've done the last week. So just drawing our pictures or figuring out what the number's worth. We've done this a lot in class, so this is not anything new for them. They should have this skill pretty mastered by now. And so then we move on to our skip counting. Our skip counting this week is interesting because we're going to skip count by 5s, but each line is its own line. You'll notice there's not a comma at the end of it, at the end of the line. And so I'm not going to have 25 because I'm actually starting a new number. Now, this one just happens to keep going, and so does on day 3, but you'll look on counting by 4s, by 10s, we're not having a 0, so they're going to have to figure out that we keep the ones place the same. So 13, 23, once they get to 23, because 13 sounds different, it does confuse some kids, but just tell them, look at your hundreds chart and move down 1 because that's counting by 10s. So we're just adding a 10. The ones place stays the same. But you can see here I have something totally different. So it's not continuing on from the line above. So just making sure we do that. And then counting by hundreds, even though our numbers get really big here, all we're doing is changing the number in the hundreds place. The ones place and the tens place will not change at all. The only time this would ever change is if we kept counting and we said 948, then I've got to make 10 hundreds or 1048. And so that would be the only time that a place value would change, is if I had to regroup. But everything that's after the hundreds stays the same. So my tens and my ones stay the same there. The only thing that would change is something that if I had to regroup that number and it becomes 1,000. So that, I hope that helps. I will put this full view for you so you'll be able to check your work, and y'all have a great weekend.